Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another solo episode of Her Drive podcast. I'm Cynthia Cramblett, the host and mastermind behind this wonderful show that, for the most part, is illuminating the stories and the power of so many other people that truly inspire me. And if you've been following the show for a number of years, or even just in this year, 2024, you've probably witnessed some shifting in the formatting. And I want to say thank you for holding space for me as I continue to evolve and figure out what the show is calling to be as we step forward. And one thing that I do know is that being that this is Her Drive, this is definitely about not just the experience of other women out there, but also my drive through life and experiences that happen to unfold for me on this road trip, so to speak, in my lifetime. So I'm definitely sharing much more like personal insights and information for you all. And the subject for today's share is something that is deeply personal to me and kind of scary to share because I've never shared anything like this publicly before. And I think it's the beginning of many things to come. But I'm also so excited to dive into this topic and to express what's happening in this channeled session. Yes, psychic channel person that I have discovered that I am. And this is a session that I recorded last week. It's about a week ago from the recording of this episode. And it's me connecting into the Akashic Records. And essentially the goal was to get some information from my spirit guides, my angels, and my team, just to help me navigate through life. So what I'm going to do is dive through kind of this whole process, and kind of explain some definitions and really dive into what it meant for me and why I'm sharing it with you all, because it was a personal message, but I think personally it applies to all of us. So if you're watching the show, you're going to be seeing me referencing notes. And then if you're not, you're just listening, no problem. So here we go. So first I want to give a little background to set the stage, so that this channeled message makes sense when I reference who the energies are and the visions are that I'm seeing, as well as provide some structure to the way the session flowed, as well as some descriptions of the terms and words used, and then ultimately provide my interpretation of what these shared messages meant. And so when you go and you listen to the channeled message, which is about 35 minutes in length, it might make a little bit more sense, especially if you don't speak an esoteric language. But I think my guides are speaking pretty plainly, so it should be relatively easily understood as far as what they're saying once they really get flowing. So like I said, this is my first time publicly sharing a channeled session. Ultimately, it is a conversation between me and my spirit guides who are giving me guidance and wisdom directly for my own life. However, I am sharing because I believe there is nutrients for all who can make it through this session. It is extremely vulnerable to do so, but ultimately I trust it is meant to be shared through love and light, and to bring to the ears that are meant to hear it and the hearts that are meant to absorb it. And for those of you who've never listened to a channeled experience or channeled message, just know that I'm just getting my legs in this. There are people out there who have very clear channels, who pull in divine messages, who have been doing it for a long time, whose shares might be a little bit more direct and crisp and easier to follow along. But I wanted to share with you this very raw version of me connecting in, realizing it's not going to be a channeled session through writing, but a channeled session mainly through vocalization. And I'll dive into what all of that means. And then, you really will get into the meat of the messaging as you proceed through. And the reason I wanted to share it this way is because I want to show people what it likes to come online spiritually in these bigger, deeper ways. And I'm not just talking about like a soul awakening or a heart opening, which is so vital and important, but I'm talking about us awakening our spiritual gifts. And that is what has been going on for me for a while. And I'm now really embracing it as my truth. And I think by showing others what is happening, this gives a permission slip of sorts, or passes a baton of freedom, liberation. You can do it too if you have this inkling. Know that it's safe You ask your guides if it's through love and light, if they're love and light. And when they give you that yes, because spirits and energies can't lie to us, you just trust that what's coming through is divine messaging. So to start, what is a channel? A spiritual channel or channeling is the practice of receiving information from a source that is believed to be outside of a person's consciousness, mind, or body. Channelers, also known as psychics or mediums, or people who are thought to be able to convey messages from spirits or non-physical beings. So channeling happens in many different forms. Many times it involves sitting down and meditating and shifting your mental space and consciousness into this more like theta brainwave, like calm, clear, crisp place. And then you kind of break free of worldly influences, and some might call it a trance state or a meditative state, but you basically come into a sense of like calm so that you can hear what's going on. And it's my personal belief that we're getting messages from our guides and nefarious energies and that are trying to hypnotize us into a state of misalignment all of the time. And I think as you grow in your spiritual understanding and you clear out the gunk out of your life, you can start to hear what influences are more positive or negative, and you start to understand what is like your higher self, your monad, your guides giving you positive information, and what are those ones that are flying across that are meant to cause destruction in your life. But anyway, some say that channeling can provide guidance from a higher self, healing, and a new perspective. For me, this is absolutely true. And others use it to connect with the souls of loved ones, spirit guides, and other divine entities. Again, I know this in my life experience is exactly what's going on. Anyways, people can experience channeling in a multitude of ways. And as I said before, I believe that each of us have channeled many times in our life. You just may not have recognized that's what's going on. To me, it feels like a flow and a surrender to a higher level of consciousness and understanding. And this has happened to me in a multitude of ways before awakening to the realization that I have spiritual gifts that I thought were just common. But since moving into this space of channeling, the ways that I do it typically are through what's called automatic writing. So like asking a question and then just not thinking about what the answer is, just like writing whatever I'm hearing and then going back and reading what's being written, as well as telepathically. I'll hear things and have body sensations and then follow what that body sensation is or whatever that voice might be, or have a visual that comes in and then start to intuitively just kind of understand what's happening. But the most recent thing that I've been experiencing is voice channeling. This is extremely new to me. And as of this year, and like I said, I'm just a baby with it. It made me really uncomfortable at first. But I'm starting to gain comfort and clarity around allowing these beautiful entities to come through and speak to me in a beautiful way. And some people connect to the Akashic Records, their Akashic Records, in order to channel or get information for themselves, or they'll go and see someone who's an Akashic reader, or they'll see a psychic medium to get a reading. But you can do this yourself. And there's lots of teachers out there. Like my teacher is Kim Pence. She's amazing. I've been working with her for almost 2 years, not just to heal myself, but that was the main goal, find healing. But ultimately it's led to gaining an arsenal of amazing tools that I use nearly daily, most of them daily, not most, but some of them daily, to just like aliven myself in bigger ways and to process denser moments that ultimately come through. But anyway, what are the Akashic Records and why am I connecting to mine? So I made a commitment to connect to my Akashic Records for 100 days. This is now going on, I think, 4 weeks since I started. And this channel session that I'm going to be sharing with you all happened during week 3. And basically, the Akashic Records are mentioned in many sacred texts, including the Bible. And basically the records are a spiritual concept that describes a sort of like a cosmic library of information about every event, thought, word, emotion, and intent that has ever occurred for everybody, for absolutely everybody. And when we speak about this from under a linear time frame thought process, then it's basically like your soul's history, right, throughout time. I'll get into like multidimensional stuff a little bit later, just to help explain a bit more of my point and what's happening within my channeling. But basically, that's the simplest way to describe the Akashic Records, and why some people connect, and some of my intentions for connecting to my own records is I've used them to help heal the past, understand present life challenges, release blocks, understand blocks that are there, answer questions about the future, understand and process past and current situations, and gain guidance on how to move forward in ways that are aligned with like soul's and love, God's purpose for us. So I've been connecting daily, and it's been very vast and unique every single day. So the experience has shifted a lot. So with that said, I want to start to introduce you. How do I say this? Sorry. What do I want to touch on next? So yeah, that's the Akashic Records. And so now that I've kind of touched on those things, I want to give you a little bit of an outline and some background into how I discovered that I have intuitive gifts, and how vocal channeling came through to me, and who my monad is, and these other spirits that are now known to me as my spirit guides. So let's go to a little bit of story time. I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible, but again, all of this is meant to give you some rich background so that the channeling makes a bit more sense. I know I'm very much a cognitive person where I want to have mental understanding of what's going on and then have the experience, right? That way my brain's not like thinking and processing. It can just ingest what's going on and really be in observer mode. So anyway, so my deep spiritual journey truly began about 2 years ago. And like I said, it helped. I had a car accident, and that really led me into diving into deep traumas and pain. And I really started to climb and claw my way out of a really unhealthy relationship cycle, and ultimately behavioral patterns in myself that were ultimately going to lead to the demise of my human self, in my opinion. I know that sounds dramatic, but I believe that to be true. And in this time, I've awakened to the knowledge that I have psychic intuitive gifts that I've had my entire life. I just didn't think that they were anything other than just common spidey senses, or just intuitive. Like, oh yeah, of course I know that. But it was through working with my teacher, as I mentioned, Kim Pence, I've been able to gain these tools that have helped me to work on many planes of reality. So for brevity's sake, I mean both the physical and the non-physical realms. And so I've learned about a curse that I had on me. I've learned how to remove dark energies, how to protect spaces, how to, psychically track truths and lies, and spiritual warfare using love, and, how to properly navigate the world of spirits and energies that I experience coming into my space. And it has been so helpful. But what applies to this channeling session is that all of this was kind of preparing me to clear my field and clear out densities and stickiness and unhealthy patterns and belief systems, so that I could be more highly connected to my ultimate self. And that ultimate self came to me over a year ago in the form of this. I was in meditation with my teacher, and basically she was guiding me through, and I saw this jade looking like jade stone dragon coming and like flying around in front of me. And through this session, it was brought to my awareness that her name was Aurora, or that's how I hear her name. It could be something very different. But when we're talking with guides, they try to connect with us in a way which like our human can understand what they're saying. And that's another topic for another day. But I know her to be Aurora. And it was made clear that she is my monad. And at that time, I didn't know what the fuck a monad was, to be honest. I had never heard that word that I'm aware of. And it wouldn't come until spring of 2024 that I would be awakened very quickly to who Aurora really is to me. And it's been this beautiful blossoming of a connection with her. since the spring. So before I continue with that story, I want to dive into a little bit about what a monad is. And this is an article that I feel like I want to read it to you all because it, while is a little bit long, it explains so much in regards to like what a soul is, our higher self, your spirit, and ultimately the monad. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it. And this comes from wisdomsdoor.com. So in human society, the terms soul, higher self, and spirit tend to be used synonymously, when in actuality, they are not the same. In this dissertation, I am, meaning the author, is going to clarify what each is and how they relate to your physical and non-physical self. I'm also going to introduce you to the monad concept in spirituality. Because of the serial nature of physical reality, you tend to think in singular terms. You take that singular nature and then project it onto everything that surrounds you, even your non-physicalness. Except the non-physical is anything but singular. It is a web of interconnecting probabilities, dimensions, universes, and time periods. People, too, are not singular on the non-physical. A non-physical person possesses many selves, past and present, probable selves, and selves yet to be. This multidimensional quality was confusing when trying to bring non-physical concepts into physical reality, so certain terms were adopted throughout the ages to distinguish just what part of the self was being referred to. But like many things, these terms wound up being lazily used for one thing, the expression of your non-physical person in relation to your physical self. This interpretation, however, can cause some non-larity of non-physical self and is wonderfully multidimensional quality. So let's start our clarification, beginning with the most individual aspects and work upward. Okay, here we go. The person that you are and the person that you will become when you are no longer physical in your spirit. The spirit is the non-physical essence of you that you know as yourself. It is you without a physical body, free from time and space. The spirit, like all other parts of your non-physical self, is indestructible and free from the effects of aging, starvation, exposure to the elements. This spirit is the closest you will come to your present physical individuality. Once free of the body, however, keep in mind, in the non-physical, this spirit is merely one face of the multidimensional person that you really are. The next link upward in the chain is your higher self. Your higher self is the prototype, so to speak. This is the part of you that exhibits and possesses all of your best and most proficient qualities. Your highest self is the person you should always ascribe to becoming. It is the person you can evolve into from your present perspective. This self is a being that is both separate and part of you. However, for argument's sake and clarification, we can say that your higher self is what you will become in the future when you complete your evolving in the physical development system. Terms and references such as look to your higher self for guidance or see what your higher self will do all refer to this self that has learned all that is knowable within physical reality and possesses the wisdom to show for it. Touching your higher self is like opening up the complete encyclopedia to human knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. All right, so continuing upward on the notch is the soul with a capital S. To your soul, you are like a child, one of many, in fact. A soul is an energy essence which takes under its wing many selves to nurture and care for. These many selves are various aspects of the soul. Soulmates are like close family members, but connect personality-wise in ways that you do not comprehend. The soul itself is the caring, nurturing force that directly shapes and molds these various soulmates. Your soul helps you to become the higher self you ascribe to be. Your soul is the force you should reach to when seeking any guidance or aid related to your present growth. Your soul cares for you as a mother, but does that caring in a way that a teacher cares for her students. The last step in the chain brings us to the monad. The monad contains many souls. The monad is a direct aspect of the force you know as God. Your monad supplies you with the life force, love, and attention that you need to maintain your existence. Your monad is ultimately responsible for your evolution. within the body of God. Your monad watches and makes sure that all other aspects of your being work in harmony together towards that one goal. Your monad is you eons from now when you have evolved past being human, past being eternal, past being omnipotent. Your monad is one shade away from God and is one aspect of God that makes you, your spirit, your higher self, and your soul uniquely you. Your monad's relationship with you is one of deep love and devotion, a love and devotion of the kind that cannot be comprehended while being human. Your monad's love is like a father's love, that strong, protective, ever forwardly moving force toward a journey's end. Now at a distance, as distant as that monad may sound, you can touch that force. This force will help you understand events in your life that are eternal in nature. This force can supply you with all the energy and love that you may need at any given time. Many people have felt the force and love from their monad in those moments of desperation when all hope seemed gone and the end seemed near. This force is like a sweeping, all-powerful love that seems to come from within, but is bright and strong enough to break free of the body and encompass the energy that you are aware of that is you. Now, as we have already stated, all these selves exist and are both part and separate from you. It's like looking at a past reincarnate self. The past self is separate from you, yet is a part of what you once were. All these other selves share the same kind of relationship. They are you, perhaps thousands to eons of years from now, stretching towards infinity. However, because all of these selves are an aspect of you, there exists a connection or thread between each of your selves. This thread is what enables knowledge to pass from a more evolved self to a less evolved self, and what binds all the selves together. It is your advantage to maintain the connection between the more anchoring aspects of yourself, like your higher self, soul, and monad, so that you can take advantage of the wisdom and knowledge that exists here. And the article goes on a little bit more, but I'm just going to leave it there because I wanted to really just touch on what a monad is. And also, I couldn't explain what a monad is without diving into some of the other topics. So, now that you know what a monad is, I'm going to dive back into a little bit more in regards to Aurora and who is the major energy that comes through during this session of channeling, along with a guardian angel who's singing to me during the session. So Aurora reappeared this summer, early summer, maybe late spring, after I had begun vocal lessons. And vocal lessons were something that I wanted to do when I was a young girl, but based on where I lived, that wasn't an option. And when I was a little girl, I was having mystical experiences. I just didn't know that's what they were. But anyway, so I started taking vocal lessons, and one night after I'd finished my exercises at the lake, I started to feel this, almost like this constriction in like my voice box, like somebody was squeezing it. Like you could imagine just someone like milking your larynx in your voice box. That's what it felt like to me. And I just had this intuitive knowing that something was trying to come through, and I tapped into my Akashic Records in that field, and that was when I saw a more clearer version of Aurora come through. And at first, I thought it was a green and red hummingbird, but then it started swirling, and I realized that it was a dragon. And then I started to telepathically communicate with this energy, and it was Aurora, and she was now starting to crystallize in her form for me. And this is very common when you start to open up your seer vision. Things at first are not so clear, but then as that skill develops, at least this is what I've experienced and heard from others, then you start to see more clearly things. And it was in such detail. So she was green with like red points. And as we were telepathically communicating, I then got this another hit that she was the one who was kind of like activating this part of my body. And because I've been taught to pay attention to bodily sensations and track what's happening there, I very quickly picked up on that my voice was being asked to be used. And while I was pretty freaked out by this experience, I said yes, because I know this is an energy of love and light, and I feel safe allowing my body to be a vessel for that. And I recorded it. And in this video recording of me channeling, you can clearly tell I'm very uncomfortable. It's pretty funny to watch. But in that first voice channel session, it was made clear to me that one of the reasons that I had started taking vocal lessons was to stretch the range of my vocal box and to further help open up my throat chakra so that my guides could, with my permission, come through and use my voice as a way to deliver messages to me and eventually to other people. So it began to, that was the first session of connecting. And it was a slow journey, I'll say, to accepting that I wasn't crazy, even though I knew I wasn't crazy, but to really allowing my voice to be used. And over the summer in the UK, I had a very big explosion while traveling through dragon areas in the UK, and Aurora came full force in visions and Kundalini activation, which is another topic. And I have another podcast you guys can go and listen to if you want to hear more about that. But this is when I realized fully that Aurora is here with me, and what she is my monad, and she is me. I am her, and I feel her presence with me. And now I feel very confident when I connect into the field, if she wants to come forward, talk to her telepathically, or now letting her channel through my voice. So that's basically the simplest way to describe my connection with Aurora. And then I want to dive into a few terms that are mentioned in the channel session. Those words are Sophia and Merkaba. So there are many interpretations of both, but this basic share may help you better wrap your head around what the common understanding is. And then I'll share a little bit of my personal connection to both. So the Merkaba and Sophia are two powerful concepts in esoteric, mystical, and spiritual traditions. So the Merkaba comes from an ancient Jewish mysticism known as Kabbalah, and it literally means chariot or throne in Hebrew, from my understanding. And it refers to a complex multi-dimensional structure or a vehicle of light that allows the soul to ascend and connect to higher realms of consciousness. And if you Google Merkaba, you'll actually see basically an energetic, it's like two interlocking tetrahedrons. So like think two pyramids, one up and one down, and they form a 3D star. And this geometric shape is thought to spin around the human body at high speeds, and we all have it and can activate it. And this helps us with our transformations and spiritual ascension. I did not know what a Merkaba was. I mean, I knew it to see what it was, but I didn't know what it represented until just recently. And like I said, it's an ascension tool. And then in biblical and mystical origins, I believe it's referenced in the book of Ezekiel, where the prophet Ezekiel's vision of a heavenly throne and the chariot of the gods is referenced. And basically, it's the vision of divine beings riding on a celestial chariot, which was symbolic of divine power and enlightenment. And then Sophia, this is a more loaded topic, and it's very interesting because feminine energy is awakening across the planet. But basically, Sophia is an ancient symbolic figure in various, again, mystical traditions, particularly in Gnosticism, which is early Christian mysticism, and it's also mentioned in some strains of Kabbalah. But Sophia is known as divine wisdom, and she is kind of the personified embodiment of divine wisdom, sometimes seen as a goddess and sometimes as a guiding force in creation. In the Gnostic beliefs, Sophia plays a role in their cosmology, and basically in this ancient mystical tradition, she represents the divine feminine aspect of God, the emanation of pure wisdom, and is depicted as having a tragic narrative in some stories. But how do I dive into this? I'll just say she's also connected with creation, intuition, nurturing, the soul's deep knowing, and she is linked to the Holy Spirit, if you're familiar with Christianity, and is regarded as the presence of God's wisdom guiding creation humanity. And some even go as far as to say she's actually the God. If you look at God from a monotheistic point of view, like she's the ultimate, like God and creatrix. But that's not for me to debate at this time. On a personal level, the energy of Sophia is seen as the awakening of the divine feminine wisdom within each of us. leading to greater balance, compassion, and understanding of life's mysteries. Working with Sophia energy is about honoring and activating this deep wisdom and recognizing the sacred feminine in all things and fostering that connection between heart and mind, no matter what your gender is on this planet. So the concept of Sophia is, again, new to me this year, the name, right? But not the concept of awakening the divine feminine in all of us. And personally, I believe we are awakening the divine feminine in all of us and starting to realize that we've crushed and dismantled our sisters, our mothers, our wives, our daughters. That energy has been deeply harmed, and that has harmed humanity as a whole. So even those who are, gendered male, are awakening in their feminine energy too. And there's a big healing that's coming. That's just my personal belief around Sophia, and that's ever evolving. But moving back into the channeled session, I want to now share some things about the spirits that came through. So in the beginning of the session, I'm kind of yawning and scribbling and trying to determine if this is going to be a channeled automatic writing session or if it's going to be a vocal channel session. So there's yawning, and what that yawning is doing is clearing out dense energies, and you're going to hear me asking questions and then also answering myself. And once you listen for a little while, you'll be able to discern what energy is me asking questions and what energy is other beings coming through me. And really the first profound one that came through is an angel that is singing very briefly. And in my awareness, this angel's been with me for a couple of years that I've noticed. And it's a giant angel that I see behind me many times, and it towers over me when I ask for protection. If I feel like I'm being messed with psychically or energetically, this giant angel appears. And this is the first time I've ever heard my angel vocalize. So that's really cool that we'll get to hear this little song of encouragement. And then the main energy that's coming through is Aurora. And Aurora, again, is my monad, who is ultimately my truest essence and expression outside of that pure connection to God, bliss, and divine, however you want to label that energy, Sophia. And being that Aurora is a sacred dragon, she is burning, creating an energetic protection around myself, and then she's burning and alchemizing dense and energies around me, and then also talking to me about what her purpose is, her connection to me. And then, sometimes you'll hear the guides speak collectively, and you'll hear the word we, and that's them all speaking to me. So it kind of bounces around a little bit, but mainly it's Aurora speaking to me. And then there's some points where I'm asking if the guides have anything else to say, if there's anyone else who wants to come forward, because what I'm doing is in my mind's eye, I'm visualizing things. I'm seeing visions, and I am not always articulating what I'm seeing, but I'm waiting. And there was a red-haired woman who appears, but she didn't seem to want to speak to me that day. She just wanted to be witnessed. And then the other spirit guides that I acknowledge and I've seen, one is my grandmother on my mother's side, and then my paternal grandmother, who I didn't have a connection with really in this lifetime. She passed away when I was relatively young, and we didn't have a strong connection with her. But now that I know she's there with me, at some point, it'll be time for us to talk one-on-one energetically. And then you'll hear me speak about the Dakinis. Some of you who have studied Eastern philosophy might be aware of what the Dakinis are, or one version of them. They are my newer guides that I'm aware of. Since going through my Kundalini activation, I had a lot of guides with me that no longer had gotten me to a point of ascension on the spiritual journey, that they then were released to go help others. And then a new team came in. And I think this is when the Dakinis really started to come in, was in late July. And basically, it's hard to really distill this, but they are powerful divine feminine beings central to Tibetan Buddhism, Hindu Tantra, and Vajrayana traditions. And they represent the feminine energy of wisdom, transformation, and spiritual liberation. They're known as sky dancers, and they're free, unbound beings who help practitioners access higher consciousness by cutting through illusions and ego. They can appear both wrathful and in peaceful forms, just like the sacred feminine. Like we think many times like this sacred feminine is just this one archetype of like softness and love and nurturing. But have you ever seen a mother who's angry, a mother who needs to protect her child? You think mother bear energy. That's how I think about the dakinis when they're in their wrathful form, which is necessary sometimes for change. So they're often depicted as naked and fierce and dancing to symbolize their freedom from societal conventions and attachment. And they represent empowered femininity, which reminds us all that wisdom is both intuitive and transformative. So I love having them as guides and protectors. So there's a few of them that appear, and they always create this, since I've been aware of them, this interesting triangular shape all around me. And then that's basically it as far as the guides that come through. And then the last experience that is described is I'm within this Akashic library, and a book is taken off the shelf, and it's this big book, and you'll hear me describe it. And I describe what I'm seeing on one of the pages in the book. And it's like you open a book and then like a movie started playing. And what that was one of my past lives. And you're going to hear me describe what's going on and then asking, what does this mean? Because sometimes the messages are very clear. I get it. But this time I didn't really understand why they showed me that story. But then it became very, very clear. So now that I've gone through all of that, and I've been talking for quite a while, bless you for being here, I want to share kind of what the takeaways are from this and like what landed for me. And then I'm going to just share the raw clip for you all to listen to. And I would be very curious to hear what your interpretations are of the shares, and then also how it made you feel to hear such a raw, unfiltered session. So here are some of the main lessons and insights that I gathered. Number 1, you are of light and divine wisdom, Sophia. I am being reminded that I am a part of Sophia, the divine feminine force of wisdom. I am a vessel of love and light, and I'm meant to shine brightly in the world. There is a clear reminder that Sophia's energy is inherently wise, loving, and compassionate, but she is also at odds with dark forces. These dark forces are attracted to the light, but cannot sustain or hold it. Despite this, Sophia's energy is one of forgiveness and love, even for those who oppose her. This is very much on point for what I've been working through in my own life. And that reminder and example of what Sophia represents landed very well for me. Number 2, spiritual protection. This came from Aurora. A ring of sacred fire was placed around me, and it represents protection and transmutation. This sacred fire burns away negative energy, including psychic attacks or emotional projections directed at me, and it alchemizes any harmful intentions sent my way. The egg of fire symbolizes a safe, protected space that burns off density and negativity while maintaining the purity of the speaker's field, so the speaker being me. And this lesson emphasizes the importance of energetic boundaries and the ability to transmute negative energy. And my friends, if you have not done any energetic work before and you feel like you can feel everything, babies, please contact me and I will give you resources and information and can guide you through ways to start cleaning up your energy field and fortifying yourself, because this stuff is real. Number 3, the lesson of embrace my role as a light worker. So I'm being reminded that my role as a light worker and as I would say a gateway is to hold space and reflect light and trigger awakening in others. I am warned that this path is often challenging because I will trigger others who are not ready to face their own shadows. However, I was being encouraged to continue holding the light, as both the triggering and the inspiration they spark in others are necessary for the growth and the expansion of humanity. And that is super on brand right now, again in my life, and stepping into the confidence of what that actually means and how I can, be comforted in the fact that not everyone's going to like me. And that, my friends, is so important for you to understand and embody too. As you come more into your authentic self, you're going to have people who no longer like you. And for me, I can never understand, why wouldn't you like me? And this message is very clear, very, very clear how important it is to hold the light, not to diminish it, not to cover it up. Just stand there in the face of the shadow, and those whose shadowy seeds need that heat, that light, that spark. Number 4, the alchemy of pain and shadow. So this was a pretty profound message about the importance of the shadow and the pain that resides within it. The seeds of growth are found in darkness and in pain, and it is through these difficult experiences that one grows. This channeling encouraged me to embrace the shadow rather than avoid it, for within the shadow lies transformation. This is kind of tied to the lesson that your pain is a gift. Even if the seeds of pain were planted against your will, they can be transformed into your wisdom and your light. And then number 5, authenticity and courage. So the past life that was shown to me of a version of me being hunted and ultimately rescued highlights a theme of private heroism versus being a public coward. And this metaphor illustrates that many people act out of fear publicly, but then are very heroic in private. And this current spiritual era, in my opinion, is about stepping into the public role of heroism and being bold and courageous and in holding the light and calling out the truth. And my guides were saying to me that I am not a coward, and mentioned something very specific and vulnerable about an act that I felt called to do to try to protect these innocent animals that were being abused. And it really encourages all of us, I believe, to start speaking up publicly against those who attempt to suppress and punish all of us, because ultimately this is killing our society by just letting things go by the wayside. And then just wrapping up a few more of the points is another core lesson being resistance to the light. And this is about not everyone is ready to embrace the light or awaken. Many people project their pain and anger onto me because of their own unworthiness and fear. And I was being encouraged to not absorb this pain, but reflect it back and to serve as a mirror for others while holding space for their growth. And simultaneously, when people are triggering me, or I'm not liking things, or I'm acting out of pain or unworthiness, to pay attention to my own mirrors coming my way. And I think this is a universal message for all of us. And then, I think a really important message was just being called again into stepping into a place of leadership, not only to hold the light privately, but to share it publicly. And that is really what I'm doing by sharing this channeled message with you all, and know that there will be resistance from those who fear the light because it reveals their shadows. But ultimately, my journey is to be one of showing others how to face their shadows and grow from it. And that from a place of authenticity and non-judgmental presence, it helps provide hope and healing for others. And then lastly, I think there was a message of a cycle of awakening where my spirit is constantly planting seeds of light in others, and they may not always be seen as far as the results, but over time, people do come back and say, hey, you sparked me in some way, just as many people out there have sparked me. And to pay attention that the seeds of pain and joy planted throughout my own lifetime have been transformed into gifts because I've chosen to look at them and to allow them to sprout, and to love the weeds and the flowers and all of it together, and seeing it's a very important part of my growth. And to know that those people out there who have different types of seeds planted within them can do the same, and not to be so concerned about whether I'm triggering or inspiring people, because either way, it's a spark, and that spark is so important for all of us. So yeah, this is basically my take on the entire experience. I know this is a very long introduction to what happened, but thank you for sticking with me. If you're still here, I'm now going to add in the audio from this channeled recording. And I just want to let you know that the start of it is pretty slow. It's going to be kind of boring to you. You're going to hear scribbling of me trying to figure out, is it an audio or a written connection. You're going to hear yawns, but I encourage you to listen to all of it because it really starts to build on itself. But if you don't want to listen to that intro part, maybe just start around like 10 minutes in. And then again, you won't hear me open with the Akash prayer or the closing prayer. I don't do that on recorded sessions because I never really know how they're going to go. And also, they're not something that I need to have on a recording because I do them so often. So here we go.
What do you want to say? Are you of the love and the light? Yes. Would it be better if my human self lost all consciousness so you could flow through me? Nothing is easy or hard, it's just what is chosen. Okay. Why all of the yawning? Coming through is not easy. It's not easy. It's a muscle that has to be worked. And as you trust in this process and allow, it will be very easy. Your body finds this very tiring. It's not its normal state to allow full access to you. You do a nice job connecting throughout the day hearing. And you're doing a better job at taking the guidance and following your higher self and your team. We are here. Your intuition is correct about those around you. The things that you pick up on are very accurate. Don't doubt yourself. Is there anything specific you want to share with me or vocalize through me? Oh, child. Thank you for connecting. And making this time. This will only serve you well. I want you to know that your heart is pure gold. Please let it be known I never cage your soul again. Your angel sang, and now your dragon speaks, that we are collectively here to help you, to guide you, and to protect you. I am placing a ring of sacred fire around you now. It's around you now. May this fire burn and alchemize all barbs and darts that are looked and thrown and shot at you from all directions, all around you. This charred earth and the red and orange flame alchemize all that is sent through psychically, vocally, written language, any way possible. These barbs do not reach you, they alchemize. Yes, and this sacred fire burns wider and thicker. It's burning all density off of your field. Yes, you can breathe now, feeling lighter, feeling more purified, feeling protected, I, Aurora, live within you. We are the same. I am your golden protector. And while we walk, know that I can also help you fly. Around you now, this ring of fire has become an egg of fire outside of your field. And this fire is not to cause damage to you or to your golden egg filled with luminescent white pure light and the molten energy of Gaia. But it is here to protect and alchemize and remind you that you are of the dragon tribe. You are part of Sophia. You are a part of Sophia. And Sophia has enemies. Yet she loves her so-called enemies, for they know not what they're doing. They seek the light, but realize they can't hold the light. They're coated in not alchemizing the soot of experience and pain that we see you all slinging at each other. You are learning that does not help, and it's not of your structure. You're of Sophia. We know that it can be hard to hear the projections be attacked, be hated by those you just want to love. But this is not their actions, those actions, they are not about you. They are about their suffering. And you are holding the light. So you must continue to allow the alchemization of their pain. And you do not absorb, but lovingly hold the light and the mirror back. You have to see into your own mirror and continue to alchemize. But know that their hate and not understanding and their projections and desire to hold you in an old state is because that's where they live. They can't choose to walk as fast as you to healing. But you can love them through it. You are protected from the bullies, from the projections, from the judgment. You don't feel this anymore. It is burning off because that is not about your mission. You are here to be bright and to be seen. You are meant to rise and fly. Yes, you are. This body that you call Cynthia is meant to be your vessel for communion and communication with the other beings on your planet. You were meant to hold the light in this body and to be witnessed. You have always known this. And we want to help you. How do you want to help me? We have everything in order for you. You are walking the path and continue to put yourself out there. You are a light of Sophia. You must remember this each day, to put on your lens of light. Hold the light, but know your light has fire, and fire will alchemize. We are all around you, and I, Aurora, are you and with you, in you. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. In practical measures in your world, there are steps to be done. Brave steps. The medicine within you is already oozing outward in people around you. And no matter what you do with your time and attention, if you hold the light, it will help spark others, and it will trigger others. Both are sparks. Both are sparks for awakening. Some just have, they have resistance to the light. That is their sense of unworthiness and pain and fear that the light will show the shadow. But it is within the shadow. It is within the shadow that the nourishment resides. That is where the seeds are. All of the seeds of pain, of desire, of growth, that is where they reside. The darkness is where the seeds are. You can bring this message forward with your bright light, your loving light, your understanding and compassion. You can speak of your shadow seeds that were planted in your womb against your will, with your will. And you can talk about what they have transformed into. Your seeds are your gifts, whether they are a seed of pain or joy. So hold the light. Hold the light. Hold the light. Thank you for sharing. Is there anything else that wishes to come forward through love and light today? I thank you, Aurora, for speaking through me. Your emotions are strong right now. The seeds are the message for today. And know, my sweet soul, that even though you plant seeds in the hearts of others through the triggering or the spark of your light, both are the spark, know that you may not see the transition for many, but as you have seen in your lifetime, many return to tell you about the way you sparked them. This is your natural gift. When you show up authentically in your light, holding your light, non-judging others, and being a safe harbor, you provide them hope. You are of Sophia. You are of the light. And I know you are crying right now. You know this is true. You have felt it your whole life. And your greatest suffering comes when people reject your light. And when you see them reject the light within themselves. When times are changing, people are sparking and awakening. They are awakening to their light. Hold your light. Hold your light. Remember the song, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine. Your heart is so big, your light is within your heart. Open your Merkaba. Open it now. It is now open. You are the light. Sophia is light. You are one of Sophia's lights. You are of the light. You are the love and the light. You are of Sophia. We are here to help you fully embody this light. There is so much confusion in the world around what the light is. And you know the light is within. The stories, the origins. That is not what matters right now. What matters is the connection to the light that is within all. The light is within all. You see black dots on the planet. Those are completely snuffed out. And some may not be able to be helped, but you can still You can still hold your light. Thank you, Aurora. Is there anything or anyone else who wishes to speak through love and light? I see a redhead. Do you wish to step forward? No, you just wanted to show yourself. Okay. And I see the Dakini around me. Blue, red, yellow. Their triangular formation around me. My angel behind me. Aurora in and on me. I see Grandmother Combs to my left. I don't know if it's Grandmother Lenora to my right. Yes? I have not communed with you, Grandmother Lenora. Grandma Combs, I know we have familiarity. So you all just want me to see you? Okay. Marcos, I see you in the background. The keeper of this library. Is there anything from the library that you would like me to know? I am seeing a big bound book. It is heavy and big, hot, thick, long, wide, a very old book, dusty. Pages being opened 3/4 of the way through, and there is a picture. I see things moving within the picture. It's a wooded forest scene with a gorgeous river running through it. There's a woman who is running on the left bank of the river. There's old, looks like sequoia trees. She is running. She is running. She cuts her foot on something and she stops and screams in pain. She has been spotted. She now is climbing a tree. The men are shooting at her as she climbs this tree. As she climbs and climbs, she is shot and falls. One of the men catches her in his arms. And why does he say, "I'm sorry"? He did not shoot her, but was following the lead of someone else. She falls into what looks like death. But he takes her to his cabin. Why am I being shown this? And here, I don't know if it's his wife or his sister, helps to heal her. Her sister is also a witch and uses her herbs and energies to help heal me, the woman who was shot out of the tree. Is there more that I need to know about this lifetime? I'm trying to understand what this lifetime means. What it's showing me is that many people are cowards in public, but they are heroes privately. We are in an era of people transitioning from private heroes to public heroes. There's no more space for cowards in public. The hero must step forward. You are a hero, and you must step forward. You are not a coward. Women are not cowards. You have shown that you are not a coward. What you did to defend the dogs and to tell Sam that he is hurting and thus hurting others shows that you are a hero. You are not a coward. You are not a coward. You are strong. You are strong, and more people will see the way to not be a coward, to step into their hero. You have this message. You have this message. Okay. Thank you for showing me this story. Is there anything else I need to know about that story? No. You lived in gratitude and in another region, secretly doing your magic. That's the end. Except the reason you were being hunted is because you denied the man. And that is a common story in your history as woman. Many times when the man does not get what he wants from the woman, he punishes her. Men can be so punitive. Broken men can be so punitive. And again, this is no longer a time for them to be in rule. This is a time for them to be stood up against. This is a time for them to be called into the light, the shadows shown onto their seeds, their roots, their infections. The cleansing is happening. The truth can no longer hide. Okay, thank you. Does this feel complete for everyone? I'm getting a sounding yes from everyone. Thank you so much.
Okay, my friends. So thank you so much for listening to this very vulnerable share and being open to witnessing my very first publicly shared channel session. I would absolutely love your feedback, and I would love to hear if anything was ignited within you or sparked some sort of mystical memory that you have. I would love to know if you have any type of mystical experiences regularly so I can offer up support and just cheerlead you. Of course, I encourage you to always leave a review for the show. You can just scroll down, and whatever platform you're on, there's always a way to leave a review that takes a very short amount of time, that provides feedback to me and allows others to help find the show. And then ultimately, I just again want to say thank you for tuning into this very personal solo episode of Her Drive Podcast. It is truly an honor to have this platform that enables me to speak directly to those who feel called to listen. And I want to just let you know that my heart is with you. I love you so much, and I'm so excited for what the future holds for all of us. And whether you're in a dark space right now and you're really reaching for the light, or you're in an illuminated space and feeling good, my love is with you. I'm here with you. And until next time, take care. This has been Her Drive Podcast with Cynthia Cramblett.